So my birthday technically is over here on the East Coast in Northeast Ohio, as it will be the case everywhere else and every other two time zones across in North America, let alone the United States as a whole. But the celebration isn't over yet. We still got the Daytona 500 in a few hours, so therefore, when the checkered flag flies, whether Mother Nature stays away or not, which hopefully that bitch can stay the fuck away, when the checkered flag flies, overtime or regulation, the celebration is officially over. So, to my other half, Emily Jean, I will see you in a few hours. So let's just get this up in a hurry and finish this quick before it's too late. Because we want to make sure we go to bed in a timely manner so we can get up at it's a perfectly decent hour, and we can go to. And we got to be careful with that severe weather that's coming in and into it down the west side of Ohio, which is, well, I don't know what they mean by the fucking west side or the east side, and the terms that these weather folks describe, like the people on Channel 19 here in Cleveland were describing the CBS affiliate. But as far as Northeast Ohio goes, we're gonna the west. I think they mean the west part of Northeast Ohio. So yeah, be careful out there. So, and to that dumbass who was correcting me saying, "Oh, but it's called the Xfinity Series, not called the Busch Series." Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. First of all, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. Two, I can call shit whatever the fuck I want, as can anyone else who is in the same boat as me. Three, most important of all, I grew up with the old names, why I still call it by everything by their OG, everything that's all the OG stuff, like OG races, OG racing divisions, OG and anything by their original names, which just goes. Is how I remember it the most, is what I grew up with, and goes to show you how old I am. So therefore, if you don't fucking like it, well, guess what? You want to continually bitch at me and pitch a fit over something that has no effect on you, and how I choose to do things on my fucking social media. Well, this is for you. You know who you are. Anyway, enough roasting that fucking douchebag piece of shit. But anyway, let's just one more thing and then we'll go over the race. Happy birthday to my NASCAR NASCAR homeboys, my birthday twins, Ty Naughton, Vince Brent, and Kai Air, aka Corvin, and of course, happiest of birthdays to my real life birthday twins, Dylan Bartell and Iggy Campbell. So therefore, I think because I forgot to post that Greg Biffle, Kevin Harvick meme when we turned Kevin Harvick 29 and Greg Biffle sweet 16 in 2023, which I was going to do, but I was so excited about the 66-degree weather that season of Winter Wonderland. I think was season 2. Yeah, season 2. Was it season 2? Yeah, it was season 2. Season 3 was 23-24. We're in 24-25. Yeah, season 4. So therefore, we turned Matt Kenseth 17 and Jeff Green 30 last year. That means he's Bobby Labonte, 18 years old, and Iggy is Larry Foot, 14. So happy birthday to DB and IC, and Dylan Bartell and Iggy Campbell. Now the elephant in the room, the NASCAR Busch Series, and fuck you, Ty Grieve. NASCAR Busch Series race set to open up the season at the Daytona International Speedway, the NAPA 300. So therefore, it wasn't fairly clean, to say the least, but it wasn't it wasn't like that egregious of a wreckfest, like the truck race that the truck race at Daytona was last year. And a little brief note about last night, I was expecting like a repeat of last year's truck race this year, but thankfully I was wrong, so it was mostly clean. But ARCA earlier this afternoon, where Cal Petty's nephew and Amber Balkan, my two favorite ARCA drivers, even though I stopped giving a shit about ARCA in 2020, just after 2020, despite still having favorites to root for in the series. That was even a bigger shit show, but at least, unlike the rest of the races this week, there's this whole week during speed weeks, that ended under green. Like, the race 2 of the 125, which basically counts the 125s as a whole, ended under caution. The Florida Dodge Dealers 250 ended under caution, and now the Napa 300 ended under caution. So help me God, if tomorrow one stupid BS happens, because there's been not so much today, which I'll get to that momentarily, but if we have stupid BS happen, or the race ends under caution. I'm talking about tomorrow's 500. If we have stupid BS happen, or if the race ends under caution, or an underdog gets fucking robbed of a feel good win, then I'm literally gonna have a fucking heart attack right in front of my girlfriend. Basically, I really don't give a shit because I will have a fucking breakdown in front of her because I don't want NASCAR season 2029 to start off on a sour note like we saw in the 125 Thursday night during my birthday dinner, or in the truck race, even though it was like after the checker flag flew, it was a poster especially. But no stupid BS happened tonight. No stupid BS happened tonight in the NAPA 300. So I mean, the ARCA race we all know was basically a semi-nuclear shit show. It was like close to nuclear, but also kind of not there either. It was kind of nuclear, but kind of wasn't. But the bigger half was kinda. It was close to it, but the only reason why it wasn't a complete nuclear shit show because it ended under green, and this one wasn't all too clean either, considering they wrecked it up quite a bit. And Austin Hill, I hate that motherfucker. I mean, he had the car to beat. I love RCR, but I cannot stand him. And I see why a lot of people don't like him, whether they're RCR fans or not outside of him. But, oh my God, he was stinking up the show big time. He did have the car to beat, but, and as we all call the people, us who don't like him, whenever someone has the car to beat, but if it's someone we don't like, we say they're stinking up the show. But to be fair, some fans in general say that about any driver, even if they don't dislike or hate them. But yeah, he was stinking up the show, and I don't even care if his teammate won. I'm just glad he didn't win because he had mechanical failure to take him out of contention. So it was a nice breath of fresh air to let somebody else win this race, even if it wasn't another RCR car. So good job on Austin Dillon's original crew chief, Danny Stockman, on getting himself a win, considering, he's been back working for RCR since, Kyle Busch Motorsports shut down at the end of the 2021, 22. I have to go back and look, but it was sometime between 2021 22. Kyle Busch Motorsports went away. But man, it was nice to see a new face of Victory Lane, even if it's over the same team. But man, I mean, we had some comers and goers like bitches. I mean, this was definitely the birthday race for me. The fucking birthday race. So, therefore, good way to spend my Robbie Gordon, Mike Skinner years to watch some Busch Grand National racing at the World Center of Racing in the Napa 300. I mean, I get it. It was kind of mid. For some people, it was mid. In terms of the race ending under caution and whatnot. If that's what they were basing off of, I'm not going to base it off that. It was way better than they thought. But it was a wreck fest somewhat, but it wasn't a complete it wasn't a complete shit show wreck fest. It was a good wreck fest. I know some people thought otherwise and said it was a nuclear, well, not nuclear, no, I'm overusing that word. It's a poor choice of words. It was like, I already forget what I said. I'm starting to suffer from short-term memory loss. Me turning 31, I'm starting to get old and all that shit. Even at 31, I'm having old people problems. But, it was a wreck fest somewhat, but it wasn't a complete it wasn't a complete shit show wreck fest. It was a good wreck fest. It was not an extreme, wreck fest. It was not an extreme wreck fest like, last year's Daytona truck race or the Easter Bunny 500 dirt race the year before at Bristol I thought there was an extreme wreckfest in 2022. That's why I stopped. But no, 2022 Coke 600 and okay, now I remember. Okay, the year before last year's truck race, the Easter Bunny 500 dirt race, just like that truck race at Daytona opened up last year, was an extreme wreckfest that wasn't even interesting. The year before that, in the Coke 600 and the Spring Martinsville Busch race, those were actually good wreckfest races. Now I think about it, last night's video, the races from the Gen 4 days, even when it was next to Cup, it was shortly after Winston left, the 2005 Coca-Cola 600 was basically the original carbon copy of 2022 Coke 600 with, 20-some cautions. That was a good wreckfest race. So races like that, the 2022 version, which was the upgraded modern day version, and then the 2022 Busch Martinsville Spring Race, which saw a lot of crazy on that fight in the pits with Mayer and Gibbs. Those are good wreckfest races because even though those are wreckfest, they had a good racing product to go with it. I mean, Easter Bunny 500 dirt race in 2023 at Bristol, and last year's Daytona truck race, wreckfest, but the racing product wasn't that great. So you can have wreckfest as long that'd be good as long as the racing product is good outside of the wrecking and shit. See, I don't mind a wreckfest. It's when the stupidity gets involved. And luckily, we didn't see that tonight. I know some people saw it, but if that's their opinion, then have at it. I'm not going to hold that against them. So therefore, go ahead and stick to your guns like any true race fan, let alone sports fan, should. So anyway, okay, so it was a pretty entertaining race. It was a kick-ass birthday race for me to enjoy for my 31st birthday. After Austin Hill fell out, it was basically like a bunch of teammates, like the Haas cars. I mean, who was the Junior Motorsports cars all try to take down Richard Childress Racing, and it didn't fucking work. Like Eric Easta mentioned in his race review with the analogy, it was like 2v1 trying to take down prime Michael Jordan, and RCR was Michael Jordan tonight. Even though I'm a Spurs and Tim Duncan fan, it was like watching the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan out there, and I would say late 90s, considering that's when I started watching basketball, but like almost all the 90s except the mid 90s when Jordan retired for 2 years to play baseball, when they allowed the cheating McDouchebags, way before they were the cheating McDouchebags, the Houston Rockets with Hakeem Olajuwon and Robert Horry and all those Rockets players that later became San Antonio Spurs players, and even majority of them won championships with them later in their careers out the years in the NBA. With the Spurs, won those championships when I was a baby, which was the last time the Rockets ever won anything, but that's a story for another day. But it was basically watch Michael Jordan, kick his opponent's asses no matter how hard they tried. Jesse Love was like, the next man up for RCR. So therefore, I mean, they did mostly behave themselves for the most part after they got maybe 2 or 3 wrecks, so maybe 4 or 5, well, maybe 3 or 4 out of the way, or in the daylight after the first 2 stages. And the rookies put on the 2025 rookie class put on a Daytona Disasterclass today. It's like only 2 of them were not in accidents. Maybe there was either one of the remaining 2 or both of the remaining 2 or on that last track. I don't even remember. No, because I wasn't paying close attention to who the rookies all were, unless CW mentioned it. Other than the ticker being at the bottom instead of the top, CW delivered at the broadcast way better than Fox can ever deliver these days. But considering I miss the days of 2001 to 2003, when they first started back in the NASCAR's heyday, when they were amazing. Like even 2004 to let's see here, 2005 Fox, with their, I'm basing off the graphics they use, and then 06 with their those graphics that was only used for 1 year, then 07 to 2010 in terms of the graphics and in the graphic, in terms of the graphics and the atmosphere NASCAR and Fox had. What about 2011? 2011 all the way until 2013. They were good. They were good. Mike Joy was in his prime. DW, but was still had a little bit left in the tank. I mean, 2014 wasn't all that bad though. It was okay with NASCAR and Fox, but it wasn't all that. 2014 it was somewhere. It was not terrible, but not great. It was basically somewhat good. But then 2015 is when they started going downhill. It was when as they started running out of gas, but most of us didn't notice it right away. I don't think nobody started noticing it until late 2010s, 2019-ish, going into the current decade, 2020s, when the only thing that was keeping it afloat, if anything, was, the last of Darrell Waltrip, even though he kind of stayed too long. But he was never as insufferable as probably what we're going to hear out of Clint Boyer tomorrow, or technically later today in a few hours in the 500. And Jeff Gordon was keeping it somewhat all right, above average, and then he dipped to go work in where Hendrick Motorsports, to like keep his loyalty to the team from his driving career. And then Kev, well, no. 2021 was the last year we saw Gordon in there when he and Boyer worked together for that 1 year to rekindle their relationship from their 2012 rivalry. I'll never forget that as long as I live, considering I was a big Jeff Gordon hater back then, and back then Montoya was my guy, the man who couldn't cut it in NASCAR, just like many open wheel guys, except for maybe Tony Stewart, even though more people remember him from NASCAR than the open wheel before he came to NASCAR. And Sam Hornish in this same division that we're going over tonight in the early 2010s, but you get the point. But yeah, from 2022, 2021 I think was the last somewhat decent year, somewhat above average year. I wouldn't say decent, the right word, for Fox. But 2022 is that's when they started showing their true colors of how awful they became and how insufferable they become. But the CW, other than the ticker being at the bottom, which I think they should maybe fix, I have my doubts. They should put it to the top, but who knows? But, networks have made unexpected changes, whether the fans ask for it or not. Even when the fans didn't ask for it, they made unexpected changes that were for the good of the fans and, for the good of the sport and everything. But, but they delivered. I mean, we did have green flag pit stops, halfway through the final stage to get to the run. But Chris Wright, man, where the fuck was he going? I was literally screaming at the TV because the camera panned away from where the trouble ended up being right before it happened. And then when the caution came, I was like, why is the caution for? There's no way in hell that, it's on the track and everybody split up. There's no packs. I thought there was a wreck actually in the all the way in the pits. It was at the entrance to pit road. When they showed the replay, I'm screaming at the TV, where is he going? But in terms of what happened, in terms of as his explanation, he told CW one thing, but then I think told another piece of media the exact opposite. He told TV that the brakes went out, but then he told another piece of media, I forgot, I've read it somewhere, but I forgot what media he told us to, that the spotter directed him to the pit road too late. So I don't know what explanation to believe, but either way, no matter which one of the two is true, I highly doubt a NASCAR driver is that reckless compared to an ARCA driver doing it. But dear Lord, I mean, and then after that, we had maybe how many wrecks did we have? We had the one wreck in turn 2, that set up the last regulation restart, and then that's that second wreck on the back straightaway. Because we had the first big one, the second wreck on the back straightaway, set up the overtime. Let's not forget the first big wreck that happened early on, shortly after the beginning. But if I remember to throw the clip in there, and then the overtime restart. See, this is where the fans get all shitty in terms of how they handled it. It's the caution was justified tonight, just like last night was. Because at least Parker Kligerman, despite what happened to him after the race, was clear as day, obviously, and was obviously in the lead, and with no challenge from eventual winner Corey Haim. So of course he was clear as day and was declared the winner. But I'm not going to go back to Thursday again because Jesus Christ. But this caution was justified because when Jesse Love took the white flag, it was clear as day he was in the lead and he had nobody trying to go beside him like Parker did last night. But the big one happened right as they took the white flag. I mean, he already took the white flag even before a second into the wreck. I think right as he took the white flag, they all wiped out and caused a junkyard in the trial zone, destroyed the whole grass. So I'm glad they're patching that up for tomorrow's 500, even though it'll probably get destroyed again if it's a wreckfest. But at least they got it right this time. But either way, stupid caution. Not that the caution, came out for its specific reasoning, but the fact that every single race this Speed Weeks, other than the ARCA races, ended under caution is and I don't know, I don't even know what I would say. It's it's astounding. It's astounding that every race is entered under caution, which is why I'm hoping we can break this trend tomorrow in the 500. I don't want no stupid BS happening. I don't want the race to end under caution. And I don't want no underdog or anyone for that matter, underdog or not, underdog or big name driver getting screwed out of a result of a win, like getting robbed over something that they deserve, that they earned. So therefore, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But congratulations on Jesse Love on winning his second career Busch Grand National race. Both on a drafting track too. His first non-drafting win is coming sooner than later. I can feel it coming in the air tonight, where he's gonna be. I mean, every driver improves. Every young driver in the Craftsman Truck and Busch series improves each and every year. Little by little, as they continue to show growth and maturity and improvement behind the wheels. So I have a feeling Jesse Love will be more of a contender this year than it will be this year, especially with me being an RCR fan. But he'll get a non-drafting win soon. I mean, probably for that this year, because we are going to another drafting track next week, Atlanta, for the NAPA. No, not that's in the summertime. And for the Cracker Barrel 500 next week, and I think it's the Aaron's 312. I mean, unless it's second Atlanta, but I'll have to check and see what. I know they had two Atlanta races back then too, so I'll have to check and see what the OG name of that was for that, because I know Aaron's 312 was one of them, but I can't remember the other one. But I'll have to look it up. We'll talk more about it next week. But anyway, congrats Jesse Love on getting your second win, and Shelton Creed, always the bridesmaid but never the bride. I hope that with the Haas team, that you'll finally get your day in the sun and finally snap that winless streak and finally get your first career win after succeeding be a big time in the Craftsman Truck Series and winning that 2020 championship. But man, dude, you haven't really accomplished any. You've been really good, but you haven't since then, but not great. So keep fighting, man. You got this. And at one point, I didn't like you for taking out Zane Smith and back then Corbin Forster in that truck race in 2020. Considering I was only a Corbin Forster fan because of Kamikaze, but then after he got in trouble, what was going on in Twitter back in the COVID days, I quit being a fan. I'm still a fan of Kamikaze because he's an amazing content creator, but Corbin Forster, no, I don't fuck with them no more. I do not stand with people like that with what he did. And what did he do? Well, for those who don't know, I'm not gonna get into it. If those who are wondering that still have Twitter, you can look it up for yourself. Search Corbin Forster 2020 and you'll see. So therefore, but I kind of put that hatred to rest. It was kind of silly of me because it was only over one race. It was just a meaningless regular race. I mean, points race, but not even regular. It was in the playoffs, not regular season, but it was meaningless. It was not like some crown jewel or something or a championship race. So therefore, I was like 26 at the time. Even in COVID, we were like the last. Some of us were the last of the different people we were from our younger years, and before we changed for the better come 2021 and beyond. Vaccine year 2021, and then 2022 beyond post COVID. So yeah, COVID gave us a lot of us a wake up call that we really didn't realize we needed. Some for the better, some for the worse, and some very little just remained the same. So therefore, whether they never had to have anything to improve, or if they just never had anything to make go the wrong way either. If they were the same chill person that they always had been their whole life, no matter how old or young you were or before COVID, then that's good. You never had to clean up anything or mess anything up. So I applaud those of you who are out there. So keep succeeding, even though this really isn't this video is all about. It just happened. We're just talking about, some bullshit that happened in 2020 in NASCAR that, I kind of, put the rest. But keep fighting, Sheldon Creed. You'll get that win this year. I can guarantee you that. And Jesse Love will get his, first non-drafting win. Because if Dale Earnhardt Jr. could do it, and, and considering the whole DI dominance thing in the early 2000s and Winston Cup Gen 4 days, then Jesse Love could do it too, but unfortunately, Michael Waltrip never did, considering the closest he came was Fall 2003 New Hampshire, but we all know how that went. That's a story for another day. But anyway, I need to quit rambling, get the fuck off this thing and finish it. Congrats, Jesse Love and RCR and Danny Stockman. See you guys in a few hours for the Daytona 500 and whatever content me and Emily have to bring you. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. And one more thing before I sign off. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes over on Facebook mostly. I will respond to each and every one of you. I just haven't had the time because I've been too busy celebrating, watching a lot of good racing, eating a lot of good food, and drinking a lot of Coca-Cola. So I probably will respond after I'm done, winding down from the 500 and start a post birthday week on the coming Monday when I get haircuts with cousin Kenny when I leave work early with my dad at 12:15. And once I get all the birthday stuff, I plan people are giving me once everybody's done giving me stuff for my birthday. I will be doing a birthday haul. So I know the Tim Duncan jerseys. Here's one. I'll end the video off with this. See these two Duncan jerseys that are fading out that I've had since 2020, right? Like right before COVID hit. I got Christmas 2019 during the pre-COVID part of 2019 2020. Well, these things are getting replaced with brand new copies of this, and why? It's the same lettering that they've been using since 2017-18. That's going to be on the upcoming, new copies of these said jerseys I'm holding before you. So they're going to go in the place of where they were right there. And these faded out Tim Duncan jerseys are not leaving me. They're going up on this wall of retired Tim Duncan jerseys or retired 21 jerseys in general that that I don't use no more. And the 21 jerseys that are not Duncan are based off Duncan. But I need to shut the fuck up and get log off and get this uploaded and edited and hopefully get some a little bit of downtime. Now I can wake up in a timely manner to go get Emily with my mom and bring her here for the 500 and enjoy the race. So thank you all for the birthday wishes. We will end the celebration. We'll continue tomorrow and end when the checker flag flies in the 500 and stay the fuck away, Mother Nature. So love you all. See you later, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.